Why do we keep looking outside of ourselves for validation? And more importantly, how can we change that? Today we're diving into those questions. There's a quote I read attributed to Rob Liano, a speaker and sales coach. Self-respect, self-worth, and self-love all start with self. Stop looking outside of yourself for your value. It's such a powerful quote and really landed deep within me when I first read it. I think some of you listening to this might be like I was, with low self-esteem and placing too much value on approval from people we trust and love. You may be feeling the painful aftershocks of that praise and support being severed. Why do we seek external validation? We humans are social creatures. Our brains are wired to seek approval from others because, historically, being part of a group increased our chances of survival. But in the modern world, this can lead to a dependence on external validation. Social media, for example, is a big influence in this game, as I'm sure you've experienced. According to a study published in Computers and Human Behavior, the likes, comments, and shares we receive can activate the brain's reward centers, making us crave more external validation. And when we're scrolling past people's best life photos and stories, we can feel depressed that we aren't on the vacation, lost the weight, got the promotion, cleaned the whole house, or dined at the best restaurant with our close circle of 10 glamorous friends. The problem with relying on others to feel good about ourselves is that we give away our power. Our self-worth becomes a roller coaster, constantly going up and down based on other people's opinions. It's like building a foundation on quicksand. It's unstable and unsustainable. We can do this in so many different relationships, from our parents and siblings to friends, bosses, teachers, work colleagues, and our romantic partners. Think about how you felt when you were looking for approval from a parent on a significant decision you made in your life. Their disappointment probably left you feeling empty and that you didn't meet their expectations. Or the time when a friend might have judged you for an indiscretion they've also done, but you now feel ashamed. Have you had a manager who never gives positive verbal feedback? You feel on edge at work because without hearing praise, you assume you're doing something wrong. And in that romantic partner, relying on them for your sense of value can be fulfilling during the good times. But what happens to your self-image when they start to undermine you because they want out but can't take responsibility to say so? I'd say we typically have a little bit of all these dynamics in play throughout our lives. Thanks for joining me. I'm Patty Blue Hayes, author, coach, and your guide to blossoming beyond heartbreak and cultivating hope as you sow the seeds of healing. So how do we build that solid foundation of self-worth from within? Let's talk about 5 strategies backed by NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, brain science, and spiritual psychology. 1. Reframe negative thoughts with NLP. NLP is all about understanding how our thoughts affect our behavior. Our thoughts and deeper beliefs determine our emotional response. From those emotions, we take action. The results from our actions spark new thoughts. If we can disrupt the cycle, we can create change. In order to have a different experience than the ones we've typically had, we need to have different thoughts. One powerful NLP technique to do that is by reframing. This involves changing the way we think about a situation to alter its emotional impact. Imagine you've just gotten criticism at work. Instead of thinking, I'm not good enough, reframe it to, this is an opportunity to learn and grow. By shifting your perspective, you take control of your narrative and empower yourself. You might be learning a new skill and find it very challenging, maybe failing assessment tests. The thought reframe from, I'm just not smart enough, might be, I can find a way to learn this within my learning style. I can ask for help. I used to tell myself that I can't learn a new language because of my experience in high school. But I moved to Panama and wanted to change my thinking about language learning. And now I celebrate the wins I have with learning Spanish. Cognitive reframing in time can significantly reduce stress and improve our mental health. The key is to understand these changes happen slowly, with patience and practice over time. 2. Practice mindfulness and meditation. It may seem that mindfulness and meditation is recommended for everything, from anxiety to building self-confidence. There's a reason for that, because it works. According to research from Harvard Medical School, regular meditation can increase gray matter in the brain, which is associated with our self-awareness and emotional regulation. Self-awareness is the fundamental pillar of our ability to make changes. We have to be aware of the habitual thinking, feeling, and acting patterns that we have in order to identify what we want to change. We need to understand why we struggle with regulating our emotions, or why we might feel defensive, or why we assume we know what people think about us, or why we care. Mindfulness can be as simple as amplifying your present moment awareness. Hyper-focus on what you're doing in the moment. Making a cup of coffee? Heighten your senses. Notice the colors and shape of the package. What is the texture like? Can you smell the coffee through the package? Does it make a crinkle sound when you open the bag? What is the sensation of scooping out the beans or grounds? Examine the beans and see what they look like in full detail. Continue doing this slow and focused process throughout preparing and tasting your coffee. You might notice that time slows down and a sense of calm flows through you. Meditation is a practice that helps you become aware of your thoughts without getting caught up in them, and it's a great way to cultivate mindfulness. It doesn't have to be complicated. You can sit quietly for 5 minutes, lengthening your breath and observing the sounds and smells you notice, temperatures and textures. Maybe you can slow the pace of your thoughts. Can you observe them and not be attached to them? You can also find guided meditations of varying lengths on YouTube, or use isochronic tones and binaural beats to sit with. While sitting, perhaps bring certain concepts into mind, such as self-love, self-worth, self-respect, self-confidence, and self-acceptance. You might go through feelings of sadness thinking about these things. That is okay. Allow tears to flow. They are cleansing. Allow the discomfort. Allow yourself to breathe through it. Have you watched a few of my videos and found them valuable? Let me know by subscribing to my channel. 3. Develop a growth mindset. A growth mindset is the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed with effort and learning. Carol Dweck's research at Stanford University shows that people with a growth mindset embrace challenges, learn from criticism and past experiences, and persist in the face of setbacks. I highly recommend her book, Mindset: The New Psychology of Success. To cultivate a growth mindset, we start by embracing challenges as opportunities to learn, rather than giving in, giving up, and concluding that we just aren't smart or capable enough. Replace self-defeating thoughts like, I'm just not good at this, with, I can improve with practice. This is not to say that some endeavors we engage in are just not a good match. Sometimes ending a project, job, or relationship is in our best interest for our growth. A personal example from my own life: for all of my school-age years, I dreaded math, couldn't grasp the formulas, and it created a tremendous amount of anxiety for me. Years later, in my 30s, I trained to become a commercial real estate appraiser, and guess what I had to face? Math. Complicated formulas about rates of return, cap rates, and gross rent multipliers. It was not easy, and I did shed some tears, but I was confident that I could grasp the concepts, and I was determined to get my certification, which I did. Contrast that with the time I left a stable job with growth opportunities, not because I couldn't do the work, but because the environment and parameters of the job did not align with my values. I took a risk by leaving that job for the unknown, but that unknown became the biggest growth opportunity, opening up the path that led me to move to Panama. There's a link in the description to a values list that I'm sure you'll find quite informative. Once you have these core values, put your choices and decisions through a checkpoint of if those choices align with your values. Another helpful question to ask yourself when faced with a decision is which one will provide more personal growth opportunities. 4. Connect with your spiritual self. Spiritual psychology emphasizes the importance of connecting with your inner self and understanding what gives your life meaning and feels fulfilling. This connection can provide a deep sense of peace and self-worth. Coaching clients I've worked with are often at a crossroads in life and get stuck on trying to define what their purpose is in life. Some people may know what their purpose is from an early age, and some of us may take varied paths that lead to our fulfillment. My suggestion is to not look for purpose, but to be purposeful. Be intentional and self-aware in your actions. Be present with people when you're speaking with them. Prepare meals with the gratitude that you have the means to buy food and cook it in modern appliances. Be kind towards your fellow human beings when you're out in the world. In a fast-paced modern world, it's easy to get caught up in the frenzy of life, going into automatic mode and performing our routines. But when you are at a stage in your life when you have an emptiness or are soul-searching or wondering why you don't love yourself, it is essential to have stillness, silence, and time to connect with your spiritual self. Turn off the noise. Television, even music can keep us distracted. Light a candle. Spend some time journaling or reflecting on meaningful questions. How can I cultivate self-respect? What brings me peace? How can I build my self-worth? When the mind is quiet, the soul will speak. 5. Use affirmations to reprogram your mind. Affirmations are positive statements that can help you challenge and overcome self-sabotaging thoughts. Create a list of affirmations that resonate with you, such as, I am worthy of love and respect. I am enough just as I am. And I trust in my ability to grow and succeed. And if you don't fully believe these statements, just add the word possible. It's possible I am worthy of love and respect. At first, you may mutter these affirmations and feel empty or feel like a fraud while saying them. In time, with consistent practice, combining all of these steps, you will develop the belief in yourself and state these affirmations loud and proud. Listen to recorded affirmations from videos and create vision boards of the transformation you see in your future. Be consistent, intentional, and determined in your pursuit, and you will create the inner strength you seek. Building self-respect, self-worth, and self-love is a journey. It's not something that happens overnight, but with consistent effort, you can create a strong foundation from within. By reframing negative thoughts, practicing mindfulness, developing a growth mindset, connecting with your spiritual self, and using affirmations, you'll start to see a shift. You'll realize that your value doesn't come from other people's opinions. It comes from you. Embrace your journey of healing and transformation. And remember, the seed does not become a blossom overnight.